Well, I want to say this. I'm very glad I'm a totally independent type of YouTuber, not working for Alex Jones or nobody else or associated with anybody else. I'm going to put out my own thoughts on this deal with South Carolina and the Civil War flag, but first I want to dispel some myths. South Carolina is known as the Palmetto State, right? It's the flag I'm showing right here, this one. This is actually the flag that was adopted on January 28th, 1861. I know they got that Confederate flag with the stars and the bars. It's kind of traditionally been known as the, overall Confederacy. It never really was, but then again, traditionally somehow, that's what I guess it's a little bit different. But the flag that was generally flown over South Carolina looked like this. It was that, okay? It was the white palmetto tree on an blue indigno field, and it had the white crescent. And usually sometimes it had the words liberty on that moon crescent, okay? Like that, right? The Moultrie flag, also known as the Liberty flag, where Lieutenant Colonel Moultrie was asked by the Revolutionary Council. Actually, I got a great, I don't know how many greats going back, directly from my father's father to father's father. He fought with them. He was actually in the in South Carolina. He fought with the American Rangers. That's before the Civil War. But then I got family that fought in the Civil War. That was in the American Revolutionary War. Then I got family, they were still in South Carolina, and they fought in the Civil War on the side of the Confederacy in South Carolina, from Marlborough County, Florence County, and all that around there. Now this flag, you see, this is a typical one, but was never officially adopted. It's a sovereignty secession flag of South Carolina. This one here, it's like the stars and bars. Instead of having it like an X, where it looks like the X just means the cross of St. Andrew. That's all the hell that means. It doesn't mean anything. Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of this stuff is almost like Pavlov's dogs. People are being conditioned with a lot of freaking psychological little games going on through media blitzes, and they don't realize it. So when they see something, they automatically think something. And actually, your biggest enemies today are psychiatrists with their meds and people in the media that use psychiatry to condition people and condition the mass response. But anyway, just to go on here, Wikipedia is pretty damn tame. I know some people criticize me for freaking using this because I know a lot of times they even have a more of a liberal slant. So if they're telling you something that's disagreeing with a lot of the liberals out there, it's pretty safe to say I'm giving you the facts. I'm not giving you something from a conservative think tank or anything like that, okay? So the sovereignty flag, which is the one with the regular cross, not the stars, not the bars, actually the X. The sovereignty flag of South Carolina was never officially recognized as the official flag of South Carolina, but there was also claims that it had flown for a short period of time in South Carolina after its secession in 1860. But I don't know. It's that's some maybe traditionally associate that. So this big flag issues become like a big racial issue thing. It's not exactly a racial issue at all. The flag that actually mainly flew with the Confederacy in 1861 was this one right here, with the moon crescent with maybe Liberty written on it and a palmetto tree. The palmetto tree was added later on because the palmetto trees were good defense where they lined the sandbanks on a fort against the British cannon during the Revolutionary War. And, that saved their ass in the fort, for that, from the British attacks. So that's partly why it was added, okay? Now, this was mainly the flag right here of South Carolina during the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, and it's pretty damn close to the state flag. And like I said, this flag was never officially recognized. It might have been possibly adopted for a short period of time. But, I'm putting it as it's a flag. That's what the hell I'm talking about. It's a flag. It's not representing like ideology exactly. It's actually just representing the state of South Carolina. Now there was a lot of tax on Fort Sumter by the Yankees and all that. But let me put it to you this the way that a lot of the stuff going on today is actually psych ops, and they're being controlled by the puppet master George Soros himself. A lot of people like to think that Barack Obama came from, some just out of the blue and just came from, hey, the new guy on the block, here he is, boom, he made it to be presidency. And I say, nah, not really. He's got strings attached to him like crazy. And, everything's got a modus operandi behind the scenes. Actually, I pointed out that one, it was kind of weird because, I didn't expect to see a lesbian conservative, but she was a lesbian conservative blogger. And she pointed out a Baltimore Sun article from 2007 before Barack Obama got elected, that Barack Obama's ancestors on both his father and mother's side in Africa were his lineage goes all the way back to slave traders and slave owners, which would make perfect sense. That's why he would be in with the elite. It's like, you're looking at the package on the outside, but on the inside, he's one of them. You know what I mean? Get it? Get what I'm saying? He's one of the bad guys. That's what I look at this guy. And, they're playing psych ops, because it's like when you're looking at the flag, everybody looks at it a different way. Now, when I look at that Confederate flag, actually, I never thought of the Confederate flag till they try to freaking slam it, Now I'm like, screw this bullshit. But, actually, I look at the Confederate flag. It's something that a lot of people that are into the history of the South probably would disagree with. But I look at it as a rebel flag. I look at it as a rebel against all the bullshit. I look at it as a rebel against Wall Street, rebel against the IRS, rebel against too much government intrusion, rebel against too much taxes, rebel against too many rules, and you name it. That's exactly how I look at it. So, I mean, maybe people could adopt different ways of freaking doing it that'll be satisfactory to what they think it is. Because once they freaking say it's bad, I'm like, screw that. The hell with it. But, it's a psych op. It's almost like everything they do to us is conditioned response. And they hit you with a lot of, you think this crap doesn't work with psychiatry and psychology and all the crap they're probably sticking to the foods and the way they're trying to control people, even with their funky meds, and dumb people down with all the shit they throw in and everything else, vaccinations and whatever else they're doing. It's like, hey, man, they're playing games with everybody, man. But, to tell you the truth, I don't even exactly look at it, exactly that flag as Southern history anymore. Now I'm looking at it, since they freaking don't want you to have it, I want one. That's why I ordered one. I never had one. The only thing I had with Confederate was the Dukes of Hazzard on DVD, because it was a silly, funny show. And I said, wow, they made that flag on the roof of the car illegal. Get the hell out of here. Well, I tell you, I had these states when they broke away. These are the southern states, and you had the northern states, and you had the border states. Delaware was one of them. Hey, do you know that Delaware did not make slavery illegal? I think it was 1868, even after the freaking made it illegal everywhere in the whole country. That's where Biden comes from. Vice President Biden, Joe Biden, he comes from Delaware, man. He's supposed to be a liberal. They'll never tell you that his state was one of the ones that, they were the last ones that freaking outlawed slavery. And also, was it Ulysses S. Grant? He had slaves. The guy that was fighting on the North, he had slaves. I mean, I'm not telling you that doesn't tell you white people are good, but I'm telling you that everybody's a damn hypocrite on both sides. But I can tell you one thing. I always kind of stick up for the underdog, because the underdog was the South. The underdog was outnumbered in their troops 2-1, right? And this is where I don't want the Confederate flag knocked down. The underdog, and this is the other thing, too. You can go on Ancestry.com and see, because I read things about less than 2% of the people in the South owned slaves. So I went on Ancestry.com and I looked up, in 1850 they had this slave roster thing, and I was looking, how many people had this many slaves, and I'm looking down all these rosters, and it's just to kind of give me a ballpark figure as to, is that correct that 98% of the people in the South did not own slaves? It was only like the highfalutin rich guys that had them. That seems about right, because when I looked at Ancestry.com, I saw, like it says, this person's name, and if you look next to it, how many slaves they had, and it was blank, a blank. Then they'd say one, and then somebody might have 15. Then somebody might, it'd be a bunch of blanks. Then somebody might have 2. Then somebody might have 7. And somebody might have 10. And somebody might have, 15 or 13 or 20 or something, But it was like almost all the people didn't have slaves. When you're looking down the Ancestry.com actual files they have on there from 1850. And that was the height of slavery right then. That was when there was like the most slaves in the United States. So, I'd say that statement was accurate, that 98% of the people in the South didn't have slaves. So, I also know about the tariff, which was major freaking, I don't give a shit what Pulitzer Prize winner tells you what. The tariff caused the tariff on cotton, that caused a major recession, depression in the South, and they didn't want to deal with that. That was to protect northern industry, and most of the benefits were going to the north. But this is what got me about with the South, because I'm not going to here's another modification on a rebel flag. Hey man, you could have it like this. This would crack me up if the freaking gays did this. You go, hey man, we're going to do this. They'll be like, oh, you're a hateful gays then, right? Whatever. But anyway, I'm not going to show that too much because that's getting a little ridiculous. But anyway, you can do whatever you want. I mean, that's why I look at it. And I'm gonna say something else about the gay flag after this too, because you wouldn't believe this shit. On an Air Force base, is no doubt. And well, anyway, the South was outnumbered by the North 2-1. So the North had 2.2, I think it was 2.2 million in their army. The South had 880,000 or over 800,000. The South lost. 3 people died in the South in the army, mostly in fighting, but then also in the I think it was the prison up in New York State, because they froze to death. Three Confederate soldiers died for every Union soldier. The Union soldiers also got paid twice as much money. The Confederate soldiers, even though they got paid about half the money, they went many months without any pay at all. And it's like you're spitting on a grave, not honoring them for like at least the efforts they made, which wasn't about slavery. It was about defending their hometown, their home state. Someday somebody from another country kicks our ass, and we still together as a state of a freaking bigger power, and it's the USA state or whatever the hell it is. And somebody flies the flag of all the people that, in America that defended against the Chinese, and then the Chinese totalitarians came down on us and said, "Oh, you can't fly that flag because that's a symbol of hate." That's what it kind of reminds me of, man. People are told, whatever the hell it is, nobody knows what they're fighting for exactly, man. Nobody really knows exactly. You're just a poor private in the army. You've been told what all the stuff's going on. They gave you the big spiel. They brainwashed you why this shit's going to happen. You did your utmost you could, and you died in battle, or you suffered in battle, or you lived through it and you suffered a great deal. So that's what they traditionally take the Confederate flag as honoring those people, which 3-1 were killed in the Confederacy, because they had half the number. They had less than half the number of troops and 3 times the number of deaths than the Union. On low pay or no pay, almost all of them were nearly starved by the end of the war, and everybody's kicking them in the ass right now. Still, I see some fat, white, blonde Republican bitch in South Carolina. Ooh, it's a freaking flag of hate. Ooh. She's going off like that, and I'm saying, you cow, you would have never been back there in a million years, man. You would have never done nothing. Oink, 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 lady. So I'm just putting it to you this way. Now, I'm going to discuss something else unrelated to this instead of freaking making a freaking separate video on it. But actually, there was man, what is that article? I think I got it over here. I was reading it. I says, man, this is crazy. U.S. Air Force allows rainbow striped U.S. flag. It wasn't like this. It wasn't a rebel flag. probably if it was a rebel rainbow flag, they would say no, no, no. Anyway, it was a U.S. with the stars in the corner, like your regular American, but the stripes are rainbow colored. It was on an Air Force base in Arizona, and they said it was in clear violation of they're flying it on the base. But it didn't have this. If we had the X in it, oh, forget it. I know that would have been, Mr. PC freaking in uniform, politically correct in uniform would have said otherwise. But anyway. Said it was an altered U.S. flag. It was therefore a clear violation of federal laws, and you shouldn't be flying on the base. So, the asswipe in charge, he goes, oh, well, I consulted with everybody, and he says that it wasn't a violation because it was not really a U.S. flag that was modified. It's just like a flag of, Burger King or something, So, the guy says in reply, he goes, anytime you want to put down, put another flag up, whether it be anything, it could be like legalized weed, medical marijuana, rebel flag with medical marijuana. That would be a real good flag. I'd like to see that one. Rebel flag with go hemp. That's why I'm looking at this shit right now with this. If they don't want you to have it, do it, But anyway, since Mr. PC in the Air Force on the base, he said it was okay to freaking fly the flag, and it was a gay flag or something with the American stars on it. It says, well, good. Hey, since he ruled that way, anything's open. The hell with it, But that's one of the problems we're going to have in our military because, I got way more respect for the Southerners. Actually, that's a lot of reason why a lot of the Southerners did pretty damn good in the war succeeding, the Civil War, like in World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, and you name it, in Afghanistan, Iraq. They did good because I don't know, they seem, it's my personal opinion. I mean, I know there's a lot of people it's a mixed bag with everybody, and it's really up to the individual all the way, but I noticed in me being a Yankee, well, I got Southern roots, but I was up from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, and I was brainwashed into all the freaking anti-Southern propaganda too. Of being up there, man. And I figured things out eventually. I says, "Wow, the truth is mighty, and it will prevail." But just observing in the military just how a lot of the Southerners are in the military, and also what the records show in World War One and World War Two, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq, in the Korean War. Oh God, don't forget that. That's my father was in that one. It's like they're hard charging soldiers, man, all the way. They really are. And maybe it just goes back to their ancestors that were in a civil war that fought against tremendous odds. They were over 2-1, plus lack of materials, lack of food, lack of pay, and that damn Yankee that you could load on Sunday and shoot all week. Remember that one too? Weaponry they were up against. I don't know. But yeah, basically the flag of South Carolina, the official flag that's there of South Carolina today, that was basically the flag that was flown for mostly of South Carolina during the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. So I saw that screaming, hysterical, fat, blonde, white bitch Republican freaking going off on the freaking Confederate flag. I was like, oh God. I don't want to say any more than this, man, because, I was just thinking of, like, her on a catapult just flying through the air, see how far she can freaking go. Wherever she lands, she lands. I don't give a shit. I'm really, like, disgusted with these yo-yos. And, it's like, well, it's like this. It really comes down to, it's like this. Pavlov's dogs. Everybody's been conditioned. But you know, the way I look at it is whatever they want you to do the opposite. Do the opposite. The hell with them, man. Do the opposite. Revolt. That's why I like that flag, because I think of it as a rebel flag, man. Rebel against the IRS, rebel against Wall Street, rebel against freaking excessive taxation, too many vehicle inspections, anything. I don't care. You know, the HOA, rebel against the HOA, the Homeowners Association. I don't care, man. That's why I like that flag. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Anyway, you want to be a rebel? Go ahead. I mean, that's why I look at it. I think anybody could be a rebel. Any creed, color, race, religion. Hey, just be. Everybody could be a rebel, man. It's an equal opportunity thing. That's why I look at it.